So I'll take you to a concert. This was the last concert on Sunday evening, and the audience leaned forward in hushed expectation, letting the music wash over them, sitting in utter disbelief and ecstasy over the magnitude of the talent performing. The excitement level rose precariously as rumors of the Beatles' arrival spread. Derek Taylor had announced earlier in the day, tongue-in-cheek at a press conference, "They are here, but they're disguised as hippies." But with or without the Beatles, the evening was earth-shaking. Though it shook only a small portion of the earth, it shook it so mightily that Mayor Minnie Cole complained to Cheers that residents in the Carmel Valley could hear the music when it came on really loud. There was a triplicate of sets where it almost exploded. The Who came on, their first major American appearance since the Murray the K tour, and they started the rock and roll rumble. Members of the press at the festival had to fend for themselves. By Sunday, the credential system was so reproductively askew that there were 300 press people in the section reserved for 80 of them right in front of the stage. I was clinging to the proscenium, one of the smallest ones there, and about the only girl in the throng, my feet braced on a loose plank, my chin thrust over the rim of the stage, my arms hanging on so hard they were sore for a week. But at the time, I didn't feel a thing. There was a pit nearby from which the movie camera were operating, and every so often a joint or a cup of clear tea would be passed by anonymous hands toward me. At one point, a boy's head and shoulders appeared out of the pit, and he held me and kissed me for an entire intermission, then receded wordlessly back into the pit, and I never saw him again in my life. It was though I had my head up against the hollow of a scream. The stage vibrated with every beat, and I couldn't have been pried loose with a crowbar. I vaguely remember Wally Hyder, an engineer who donated the sound equipment to the festival, saying that if things got too crazy, the crew should keep out of the way. But I had absolutely no idea what he meant. I couldn't even tell you what I was high on, but I was roaring. The Who were racy and wild, pounding out that fiery music for which they have since become notorious. They jumped and howled and raved and looned, and it was a spectacle beyond what any American band had or would display. This was the band that inspired the bust-up rock and roll scene in Antonini's Blow Up, the band that in England was synonymous with pop. The explosion started when Peter Townsend, at the end of a supercharged song, raped an amplifier with the neck of his guitar, tearing his grill, sending its fizzling entrails spilling out into the stage. Keith Moon, the most violent drummer in rock, threw all the drums around the stage, chasing them down as they rolled, kicking them in. Wally Hyder scurried about the stage, rescuing microphones as the cameraman followed him at a safe distance with a zoom lens. The faces of the Who were contorted, the veins on their necks stood out like bright blue wires reaching toward their demented skulls. Moon was beet red, screaming his head off. Red light seemed to create the illusion of blood pouring out of his mouth. I had never seen anything resembling it, and in a moment of hysteria, I turned to terror. I thought it was a genuine freakout, and the Who were actually trying to destroy the stage. The smoke pouring out of the amplifier seemed to encompass the area. I broke loose from the stage, scampering under the superstructure in full panic, trembling and crying and clinging to a wooden support and praying tearfully. Somebody came out after me, laughing and trying to tell me it was all part of the act, but I could not be convinced. And for the duration of the evening, I was known as Chicken Delight, and there are people around who are never going to let me forget it.
Wow.